Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Cult of Cantona with your host today. I'm Oisin Kelch Butler, and with me is James Healy Meany. No PBL today, unfortunately, but we're going to have to take the reins on this one, carry the torch in that sense. We're coming at you at the back of that huge derby win against City, smashing 2-0. Should have been 4-5, 6-0 if it wasn't for VAR and those cheating citizens. How you feeling, James?
I'm feeling so good. Sorry, just having issues there. I'm feeling so good after that, especially like even looking back on it now, not showing any of the replays for the offsides, for the goals, anything like that. It's just it should have been easily 4-5 now. Especially Bruno being taken down in the box as well by Silva. I know I'm being a bit biased here as well when Low as well had that cheeky tackle, but he kind of bounced up off the ball, no intent behind it. Studs were shown a little bit, and we've seen them being given before. And we've also not seen them being given before as well. Like, for example, when a similar issue had happened with City and Liverpool when he got the studs in the ribs. But I'm feeling so happy after that. Like, that was just a completely different team to what we were used to.
It really was, and what you're touching on there about those couple decisions. First off, that Delo challenge. I think we were extremely lucky that we didn't go down to 10 men very early on, and then Shaw got a booking, and it looked like it was going to be one of those days where it just could have gone from bad to worse. But something clicked with the way Carrick set up the team, having Bruno in his natural position. Like I, I mean, I know there's lots of social media accounts out there that like talk about other results that go on in the league, but I don't think I've seen as much as I've seen after that match. Like, people glazing United, Carrick, Bruno, people finally putting respect on his name, and I think we can all agree we've always wondered like what are we like without him in the squad, and when he's not playing, like
Yeah.
we're pretty bad, but when he's playing on his game, he's one of the best midfielders in the world, in my opinion. And the VAR decisions, I thought it was bizarre not to see the replays of them. And like we were all talking in the WhatsApp group, chatting about it, and I was like, I mean that's extremely close. We didn't see a replay of it, and then after the match, I saw the Bernardo Silva kick out on Bruno in the box. Didn't see a replay of that. The only thing I'm wondering is because they had the automatic offsides on, maybe there were some issues with the VAR where they could only really use the offside technology that they had that day or something. I'm not 100% sure. But what are your thoughts on Michael Carrick and how he set us up?
To be honest, like looking at it as well, is like the way he deals with people, like man to man, for example. Like looking the way Bruno was playing, he looked like he had a bit more freedom as well, playing up where he's usually playing. Having him just behind the strikers or the wingers, kind of been able to do what he wants. Like even the setup as well for Mbumo's goal. Like the Thierry Henry done a breakdown on Sky Sports as well with it, where he was talking about this man doesn't play football, he thinks football, and it showed like an example of um Bruno running with the ball, the defender and Mbumo 4 yards apart, and then Bruno like does a fake to the right, pulls that defender 2 more yards away. So then when he plays him through, he closes in on him, and by the time he's closing in on him, he's only 4 yards away again, or 3 yards away. But if he closed that down, he'd have been even closer. So having that style of play, having that freedom and stuff like that to play, you can see a completely different United team.
Yeah.
And then even when Cunha was coming on, you could see Carrick talking to him. You can see him giving him instructions man to man, and I think that's the difference in this coaching team and the system and the whole lot. Like especially with Carrick, because he's got that football brain. Like even when he was talking about how he passes, he doesn't take that extra touch where he places it out in front of him. He passes the ball while it's at his feet, and I'm wondering if he did that with them in training. Um, because I think that man to man coaching really helped big time.
Yeah, I've definitely seen some clips of like training, and he seems to be very involved in everything that they're doing. He's very close to it. He's involved in the drills. I don't want to go on too much about the old manager, but it seemed like he was more so on the outskirts of it, just watching and kind of keeping an eye on what was going on. But Carrick really likes to get stuck in. And when you have, I mean, even for us at work, when you see someone who's your boss or whatever, and they're in the trenches with you doing all the hard work, it makes you want to be like, okay, well, I'm gonna do. I want to do as good as they're doing, basically. So I think Carrick's super important in that sense. And do you think, in terms of his coaching style or even his philosophies or the way he is, that like with the old managers, or even with the old manager, it seemed to be so focused on the system of how the whole team played as one, right?
Yeah,
Like
no.
that's more important, or do you think it's more important to get the best out of every single player in the squad?
See, that's what the issue with a team involvement and saying like it kind of goes hand in hand, really. So it kind of goes to, as I was saying, on the last one, when he goes into a defensive style, he kind of goes into like a 4-4-2. So where the wingers are then coming back to help out as well. So when people aren't pulling their weight in the team, each individual has to give 100%, because at the end of the 90 minutes, if they're not giving 100%, there's gonna be gaps in the team. So for example, like City weren't pulling back. And when they were on the attack, they always end up with three at the back as well, because they push up the winger, and then their right back or their left back fills in as a right centre back or a left centre back, or else their centre defensive mid drops in as like a centre half. So when that happens, and when United go on the counter, United are countering with like five players. So
Yeah,
you've got your striker, your two wingers, and then you've got your wing back and your midfield. So you've got your five players there, which is going to overload their back four. So if their winger isn't tracking back to pick up that extra player, that means the big switch that we were seeing happening is just going to leave a free man. So when we were being countered, and if every man isn't putting in that work, you will start to see flaws and you will start to see issues with the team. So I do think it's down to every player giving 100%. And if they're not doing that, and I also think that comes from the coaching style as well. So because all the coaches are probably getting involved, making everyone put in 100%, and then with that as well, everyone's getting involved. Everyone looks like they are putting in the effort, and as you said, because Carrick's in the trenches with them, they're not afraid to do it. It's kind
yeah,
of like I wouldn't ask someone to do what I wouldn't do myself, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
100%. Like, how do you feel about his? I don't. I'm not going to say aura because I don't think he has much aura right now. But like, how do you feel about him as a personality? Like, do you think he's big enough for the job? Like, how do you think he's going to react to? Because listen, it's all fine and well getting a great result, especially a derby, and we said last week that in a derby form kind of goes out the window. Like we that was probably one of the best United performances I've seen in a long like years, a long time in the sense of how consistent it was. Like 90 minutes, we weren't really stressing too much. Like we were sitting in deep, letting them kind of just pass it back and forth. Now I was getting frustrated with the possession stats just because I'm a bit of a like stats nerd, but I just think if you're under pressure for that amount of time that somebody's eventually going to get a chance. But every time they did get a chance, it wasn't clear cut. Our defenders were diving headfirst into balls. Like even Cunha at the end of the game, he almost jumped like Superman to head a ball away that someone on City was shooting. It was just all around. It was a pretty much perfect performance.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
just
100%.
I'm just wondering how that's going to translate now into when we come up against a team that won't dominate the possession, when we dominate the possession, because regardless of the manager, that seems to be a big problem. Is how do you break down those low blocks? Because on counterattacks, we're electric. Like as you said on that Mbumo goal, Mbumo basically makes a flick around the corner and he is gone. And you can see one by one players joining in. There's like four players just sprinting at the City defense, and it's beautiful to see. But in terms of us passing in and around the box, creating chances like that, I didn't see too much of that. Now, I did see a couple of those rondos where there's memes going around now where there was like I don't know if it was the Arabic commentators, it's like
Yeah.
Bruno Cunha, like oh man, it was beautiful. I haven't seen that in a very long time from United side.
Yeah, because that's what the way Amram kind of done it as well, is that he was pass around the back, use the midfield, use the wings, and then go back in again, and then try and cut it across the box to have a shot. Whereas, as you were saying there, like for the 90 minutes and stuff, we seemed calm. We were like we had so many shots in the whole game combined. City had one shot altogether.
Yeah,
It's like even with that, and when we're coming up against Arsenal as well, uh, like they're gonna pack every man behind the ball to kind of prevent our counter attack, which means it's probably gonna go more in the lines of like a draw or something along the lines of that. But I wonder
us
now.
getting a draw. Are you sure?
I'd say that's what they're gonna hope for. Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean? Because like as I said last week about Pep. the pressure is now on Arteta because now he's in the title race. They're sitting top of the table, a few points clear. It's up to them to win.
Yeah.
So if they come out guns blazing, then it'll probably give us a bit more of an advantage. But I think our midfield might be a bit stronger than their midfield because their midfield's a bit inconsistent. As in saying that, like the last while, Ayers has as well.
Yeah.
But like looking at it as well, I think if Arsenal don't show up on the day, then it's ours to win. Because if they're doing like a low block, or if they're pulling every man behind the ball, just pinging balls into that box as well is going to put them under pressure. Because it's like looking at Brentford when they kick off, the first thing they do is just hoof the ball up into their half, and people are like, "Oh, but you're giving away possession." But I seen Queevy and Kelleher talking about it, and he says we're not giving away possession. What we're doing is we're hoofing the ball up, and that's making their defenders and their keepers think and worry early on in the match. And I think that's what Carrick needs to do on Sunday is put the pressure onto them early, kind of like with Maguire's header against City very early on
Yeah.
in the game as well. He was somebody else who played absolutely fantastic as well on Saturday. Um, the first goal as well came from a header away from him, clearing it from the box, which set us on the break. But the thing with possession as well, like if a team has a lot of possession, that just means they're not doing much with the ball, in my opinion. They're probably just passing it around, like the way City were. But if we want to see how the old United played, we're not going to have that much possession because it's all about the counter attack. You know what I mean? But as you
Yeah.
said, if they are going to do the low block, if they are going to put every man behind the ball, then we might have to dominate possession a little bit more now coming up against Arsenal. But we will have to put them under pressure. Start getting crosses in. Start putting the ball onto. If Shesko's playing, put the ball onto his head. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Would
It's
would you
like
start would you start Shesko this weekend?
this weekend. I'm not too sure to be honest, because it depends on what way Arsenal are going to line up as well. Do you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like if he wants to go in early and he is going to start pinging balls into the box, I probably would start him. Um, but because like that's what we've seen the impact that the subs had on the weekend
Yeah,
as
that
well.
was the first time in a very, very long time that we've seen subs come on and really try to not chase a win, but to really like put the nail in the coffin. And it was amazing to see. And like I feel bad for Mason Mount because it was a beautifully worked goal. Cunha taking men on down the wing, whips in across. Like it's everything about the subs was positive. Now,
Yeah,
before the game when that lineup came out, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty sure we were all like, what is this? What's going on? But he got it 100% right. You were talking about Maguire at the back. I think him and Martinez were just absolute stouts back there. They didn't let anything get through. They were calm. They were collected. They were together. Even with the fullbacks, everybody was playing really tight. Um, have you? I'm sure you've seen all the stuff about Scholes and Nicky Butt and Martinez. What's your opinion on all that?
see, I like. I'm all for ex players, right? I really appreciate all the work that they put in with the club. I really appreciate all the hard work that they put in over the years. I appreciate Scholes coming back out of retirement to help United with that league title as well. But I actually, as I said earlier on when we were chatting in the WhatsApp group as well, I miss the days when he was quiet
Mhm.
because I understand that he's got a living to make. I understand that he's got things to do as well. But he needs to be careful of what he says. Especially online, especially criticizing players. Like I know Martinez came out and played it out of his skin. I seen a video where he was then trying to take basically saying that what he said inspired Martinez to continue on and do better. Do you know what I mean? But what he's not realizing is that like young lads coming up through the club, they're all on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? Clips out of these podcasts and stuff, they are going to get taken out of context, no matter what it is they're saying. Nobody's going to watch the full podcast, but they are going to see the clips from it.
Yeah,
And if, say, for the likes of Shay Lacey, Mainu, or all the young lads coming up through it, you know what I mean? When they start seeing the criticism online, they're not just going to see it on TikTok for the 10 seconds or the 30 seconds that it's on there. They're going to see it on Facebook. They're going to see it on Instagram. They're going to see it on people's stories. Do you know what I mean? So it's like they are active online. So I think they need to watch what they're saying. because they're
Yeah.
supposed to be supporters and legends of this club. So it's like they need to be backing players. Like I
Right.
understand that like criticism can have its positives as well. Like people can be like, oh, he's criticizing. I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna show these that they're wrong. But when you're seeing it all the time, it can start to have a negative impact on your mentality. And I really do think that the two lads need to kind of realize that. Do you know what I mean? Like especially like because Nicky Butt like saying that about Martinez, like I was going to pick him up and run with him, like a father collecting his school child. You know what I mean? But if he had just taken 10 minutes before that podcast and had a look at the stats with Martinez against Haaland,
Yeah.
he's show Haaland up so many times before. Do you know what I mean?
This isn't the first time that somebody in a punditry position has come at Martinez's height or his size or anything like that. Like I remember on Carragher, he was one of the first ones to come out and say it about Martinez, and then Martinez, that I think that might have been the first season he was there, and first few games he was lighting it up, and then post match he was there talking to Carragher, and you can see Martinez smiling. He's very very assured in himself, and I think that's the same thing with Martinez in this situation. Martinez is a World Cup winner. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like this guy's got some serious mentality. The only thing I have a problem with the ex player is like, like okay, so it's one thing if you're say you're doing punditry for Sky Sports or being whatever it is. That's one thing. You're getting paid to do that. But if you're doing your own personal podcast or whatever it is, like which I believe the Skulls and Nicky Butt one is, right? Like they don't need to be putting out that kind of stuff there, unless they genuinely hate Martinez or they hate the club, which I'm sure they don't. But a podcast to me is opinionated in the sense of it's what you're passionate about, it's what you love, right? So these guys should be using their platform to uplift the players more so, not bring them down,
yeah,
which seems to be what they are doing in their own little private podcasts. Rio Ferdinand, I think, is a perfect example of that, where he has his podcasts and his own shows and his own media and stuff, and pretty much everything he does is uplifting and promising towards the club. Like he'll go to the club and he'll go talk to the players. He'll go, you know what I mean? Like that's what these ex players should be doing, showing their face in the training grounds. Be like, hey, Carrick, can I come in for a session? Like imagine if Scholes and Nicky Butt went in one week or every week they had an ex player coming in just for a training session. Like these young players who are United supporters or grew up watching United. Imagine going into a training session. It's like, oh, Paul Scholes is going to be man marking me today in training. Like, imagine how cool that would be.
yeah.
But I think that I don't know what Scholes' issue is. He just seems to be a cranky old man, and it seems to be what a lot of what the United pundits are now. And I don't think they need to be negative. Like, and that's one side of it too, is where negativity, like it brings clicks, it brings views, all that kind of thing. But United is so big, and we have such a loyal fan base that just by talking about United, being positive about it, you're still going to get people watching. You're still going to get people interacting. But it seems like they just seem to always go for the jugular and the negative. I just don't quite understand it personally.
They're kind of feeding into it as well, as because obviously, like when you see the likes of all the newspapers and all the talk shows, and they always talk negative about United because they know it's going to bring in United fans, Liverpool fans, City fans. It's going to bring in all these different fans as well who also hate on United. And going to be like, haha, look what's happening with United. But you never see that with any of the other clubs. Like you
No.
never see it with Chelsea. You never see it with Newcastle. You never see it with Liverpool. You never see it with City. You know what I mean? Like Haaland's on a goal drought now at the moment. I'm pretty sure as well. And he didn't even score against Bodo Glimt. But you don't see Sky Sports coming out and absolutely berating him. But when Sesko was out injured, they were like, well, why isn't he scoring? It's like he's out injured. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like if he could score while he was injured, he would. But like, and then he gets back and he starts scoring again. And they're like, right, there goes their agenda. But it's
Yeah.
like I think with the Paul Scholes Nicky Butt thing as well, as you said, they do need to start bringing like more of a positive look to it, and then being like, but when we got criticism when we were playing, we took it on the chin and we moved on with it. It was like you had to look at those articles through teletext or through a newspaper.
Yeah.
You know, like you weren't seeing it everywhere every day, like on Instagram and as I said on Twitter or on TikTok or anything like that as well. So it's like these younger players are going to see it and whatever. Well, I don't know. Like they're just feeding into the negativity of like Sky Sports or all that sort of stuff. And as you said, Rio's doing it right. He's coming out and he's talking well about it. But I kind of I like the way Carrick speaks as well because he doesn't come out and he's not. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. He's just like, yeah, no, that's how we play it. That's how we do this. He's very calm.
Yeah.
He's very collected, and he's well used to the buzz that's always around United. And I think that's what an issue is as well with new players coming in, new managers coming in. I don't think they realise the scale of the club that they're actually joining and how much people are watching, like with photos, videos of you training, videos of you leaving your house, driving out at Carrington after a training session. There's always people watching. And I don't think they realise the scale of viewers or even people just like looking at photos of you leaving training. Like I don't think they realize, and that just adds a lot of pressure to it. But I think Carrick's so used to it, and I think that's now starting to rub off on a lot of players because I'm now starting to see a lot of videos of all the lads kind of talking to each other, having a laugh with each other, messing around. You know, you can kind of see Vibes FC coming back.
Yeah. I think we're definitely like no, we can't get ahead of ourselves and say that we're going to the moon, but I think it was pretty much a perfect debut. Like you can't ask for any more than what we got. So that's the expectation, right?
Yeah,
That's what we're expecting now. So going into Arsenal this weekend, obviously, like we talked about it a little bit, they they need this. They need this win. We need this win. Like we're in a top four race. Like there's no doubt about it. We've been in it. Even like if we won those three draws that we had in between the Newcastle and City game, like we'd be in third place, fourth place, and we'd be laughing. You know what I mean? But this game, we always seem to play well against the big six sides.
yeah,
But they want this and they need it. The only thing I'm worried about is, like you said, if they do park the bus. I don't think they're going to do that because it's going to be at home. Their fans are going to be after it. Their fans are going to be chanting them to attack, and I think that'll play right into what we want them to do.
so
Uh,
I think their weak point might actually be on the left hand side. Especially going into this match. And as I was talking about the way we attack with the overload and leaving pressure on the open defender at the back line, because I don't think I've seen Saka track back that much. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
if he's not tracking back or if the midfield aren't pulling back, I think they're going to get overload in the defense and they're going to get caught out if they don't do the every man behind the ball.
Saka's another one of those who I think with Arsenal now, man, it's almost like it's cool to be an Arsenal supporter in a way. Do you know what I mean? Like there's all these new Arsenal fans coming out from underneath the woodwork, like celebrities, musicians, all these people showing up to Arsenal games. It's almost like it's the new fad to be an Arsenal supporter. So when they talk about Arsenal a lot of the time, it's like that they don't really know what they're talking about. So like people are still glazing Saka. Like what that guy's got like what 2 assists or 2 goals in the last like 12 months or something. Like he's not a player that I'm worried about.
No,
And Gyökeres, who is pretty much, I don't know if you can say he's a bust already, but I haven't seen anything from him to make me scared of him. They're starting Martinelli now because he scored a hat trick against some nothing club. He's useless. I think they're there for the taking, to be honest with you. I'm not that scared of them. Now, they do have a great defense. I seen a stat there the other day that they're second now all time, Gabriel and Saliba, for all time clean sheets behind, I think, Rio and Vidic, maybe?
no way.
I think so. But I was just thinking about that. They don't strike me as like a top five center back partnerships of all time.
No, because
No.
it's like when you're looking at it as well. It's like the games where they were under pressure, where they were almost guaranteed the 3 points. If they look at this match now coming in on Sunday, and they're like, this is going to be an easy one. These are just getting used to it. They're not used to the manager's system or whatever it is, or whatever way they're trying to look at an advantage from their point of view. Um, I think that might play into our benefit as well because when they came up against Wolves, the only reason they won against Wolves was because they got a corner, which wasn't actually meant to be a corner because I think it was Saka that was offside. He interfered with play, so it shouldn't have been a corner. And then Wolves also scored two on goals. So without those two on goals, they wouldn't have even gotten the draw that day. So if we
Yeah.
even play into that, and that kind of goes into into the thing I was saying as well about if we just start loading balls into the box, if we've got height in there or if we've got players who can benefit from that, then we'll probably end up taking it all day. But I don't want to get too excited either.
Yeah, listen. I think it's all right to get excited. I think we need to make it scrappy. We need to kind of set the tone early, and what we said about those two yellow cards early on against City, like maybe that kind of set the tone a little bit. Like holy shit, like that City, the players of City could have been like, geez, they're a bit more aggressive than they usually are when we play them. And I think Arsenal are probably going in thinking, man, it's United, you know, like we're not that worried about them. But I think we need to go in, we need to be aggressive, like you said, a lot of balls in the box, a lot of attempts on goal, which we don't seem to have a lack of doing. I think we're leading the league in shots as well. Like we're absolutely just peppering. We're not peppering the back of the net as much as I'd like to, but we're at least we're aiming in that area. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, and that's what I like. Even looking at it as well, I was looking at like the referee and stuff like that as well. He managed. He was reffing against Arsenal, I think, once or twice this year. Arsenal haven't won while he was reffing. United haven't won while he was reffing. So it could be a really interesting one. And the way Arsenal play as well, they're very like kind of like a bit dodgy. Like they like to lie down on the ground. They like to waste time on the pitch. They like to get in the heads of the opposition players. But I think if our players like Martinez or Delo, if he's starting, or if not Mazarawi, if these type of players start to get into their heads early, it might cause them to get frustrated. Maybe even pick up a few yellow cards. If their left back or their right back or even one of their centre backs picks up a yellow card, they're open play from then on. They're just going to keep on running at him because if they keep running at him and then he just leaves a foot in or something like that, red card. Now they're definitely going to be overloaded. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's about beating them at their own game. Because even if like looking at it against Liverpool as well, throwing themselves on the ground, looking for fouls over everything. So it's like we kind of need to be careful, but at the same time as well, we just need to get into their heads early.
No, I agree. What are you predicting for that? What do you think?
I'm hoping it could either be another 2-0 win. If not, I'll have to say a 1-all draw, depending on how Arsenal line up on the day. But I'm hoping another either 1-0 or 2-0 win for United.
I can see, like, I can. The logical side of me is saying definitely a draw. I think. I don't know. I think Arsenal they play such negative football. I don't think it's going to be high scoring. I'm thinking it could be a nil-nil draw. We haven't seen one of those in a very very long time. Nil-nil, 1-1, something like that. But the fan of me is saying 3-0, 3-1. That's what I'm
Yeah.
hoping for, and just absolutely bounce around the house. That'd be amazing.
See,
I got another question for you though. It
yeah.
came up today in the news. Rumors of Cole Palmer.
See, this is one thing that I would love, and he's someone who's used to it, and I think he kind of goes along the same lines as like Mbumo and Carrick when it comes to like the media. I think that they don't care too much about it, so they're so used to it. And as I was saying, it's like he's English. He was getting a lot of attention since he broke into that Chelsea team, and or even when he was coming up through the youth system with City, he was getting a lot of attention. Um, and I think the way he kind of deals with the media as well, like he doesn't take anything seriously. I think if he joined the United team as a United fan, I mean him now, not me, because it's been obvious that he's a United fan.
Yeah,
Um, he's apparently he's missing his friends back up the north. So it's like it'd be. I think it'd be more comfortable for him to get there. I don't think he'll flourish straight away. But I think when he gets there, he gets used to the team. He's got other teammates there who he's played with in England, or he's even played with at Chelsea. If I'm not too sure if the two of them crossed paths, Mason Mount and Cole Palmer. I can't
yeah.
even
Might have
remember.
been just about like around that time. I'm sure he was. Actually, I'm not 100% sure, but I know him and Manu are fairly close. Always in the England camps, you always would see them two kind of hanging out and joking around and stuff. But I absolutely would love the signing just because I know. I mean, we have to talk about it. Bruno is getting older, right?
Yeah,
I think a player like that would be the perfect replacement for a Bruno. Even if Bruno only stays for another year or 2 years, if you had Cole Palmer to kind of learn from Bruno, like Cole Palmer's, he's great now. I don't think he's as good as people think he is. Do you know what I mean? Like he's performing in a pretty poor Chelsea side, I think.
yeah.
But he's creative, he's direct, he's really good on the ball. But imagine if you had Bruno Fernandes to teach him those little passes and the visions that he sees, because the passes, quite frankly, that Bruno sees, nobody else on the planet sees most of the time. Like
Yeah, and
there,
that's what I think he can really benefit as well with that counter attacking style of football as well. Do you know what I mean? So it's like with him in the midfield pushing up with the likes of Cunha or Mbumo or Diallo, like even just adding to that strike force, if the ball were to fall back into the midfield, at least we know someone who can strike the ball or somebody who has that ability to do something like that. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, 100%. Now, I have a question in the sense of if this Arsenal, if we go to Arsenal and we end up getting battered, like, how do you think fans are going to react to that? Like, do you think that it's going to be calm and measured in the sense of, all right, well, listen, we had great results, not so great results, we'll bounce back, or do you think it's going to be straight down the manager's throat, media being negative? What are you thinking?
I don't think he will get as much harassment from the media as our previous managers did because he's a young English manager. And that's what this is a question I always ask some of my mates as well. Is like, can you think of an English manager who has won a trophy in England over the last few years, bar Eddie Howe winning the Carabao Cup, or even who have won the Premier League? And for him to come in, be a part of the United team who finished second and third, with Ole, and then now he's coming in, he's producing results like this. I don't think he'll get as much pressure as previous managers, but from the fans, maybe. Um, because every time we lose, it's always negativity, no matter what. Like there's no patience with the fan base, and I kind of understand why it's been so long since we were performing really well, since we were winning trophies and stuff like that. But in my honest opinion, I think if we have him for the 6 months or until we find a new manager, I think we need to stay behind him. We need to back him with that result against City. If we do get battered against Arsenal, they're top of the table. Fair enough. Um, like as I said, I'm not expecting a win on Sunday. Like a draw, I'd be happy with.
Yeah,
But because I know it's a team, they're still getting used to each other. Cunha's still new, and Bumo's still new. Shesko's still new. We've got players coming back from injury, players coming back from Afcon. So it's like I'm like the team's still gelling. The team's still getting used to each other. I think if we go out there and we lose on Sunday, we just need to get behind them as well for the match against Fulham if it goes ahead during the protests.
yeah,
But that's what it's about. It's not about beating the big teams. Like even Fergie, that was his thing. It's not about beating the big teams. It's about picking up points against the smaller teams. Like even scrappy wins against the smaller teams. Like coming up against Burnley, beating them 1-0, happy days. Wolves beating them 1-0. We'll take that, because it's 3 points at the end of the day. So I
yeah.
think if we go out on Sunday and we get battered, but every single player puts in a shift, I'd be happy.
No, I agree, and I think we've almost lost that in the sense of like a win is a win. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? 3 points is 3 points. It doesn't matter how you get it, really, at the end of the day. It seems like no matter how United do it, somebody finds an angle to make it not good enough, right? And I think what we said about last week about us being voices of the fans and like really putting out that positivity, I think that's what we're trying to do here, is that if they lose, we pick out the positives. If they win, we pick out the positives. We don't dwell on what could have been or anything like that. And I think that's really important going forward because he's the manager till the end of the season. That's it. He's not getting sacked, so we need to get on the bus. He's at the wheel. Just let him take it, see how far we can go, and God knows. Like, and how long has it been since we've been in an exciting, whether it was a title or it was a top four or top five, whatever it is, to be involved in something towards the tail end of the season is always a good thing, right? Because we have no cups right now, so this league getting top four is the absolute number one priority. So instead of spending time being negative and shitting on everything that the manager is trying to do and the players are trying to do, we just gotta get behind them, be supportive.
100%. Like it's that's the main thing. Is just being supportive. Everyone has the backing of each other. If we support them, other fans need to start getting behind them as well and supporting them when we can. Um, and like even at that, even Keane came out and said before as well is that everyone always thinks of the old United team as winning every single game. Even he came out and said we didn't win every game. We lost a few games. We lost a few scrappy 1-0 wins. It's like even Ferguson's last game of his career at United drew 4-4 with like Wigan because like we were winning like 4-2 and or 5-2 and it ended up 5-all or something mad. So he ended up with a point on his last ever game as United manager when Lukaku scored like a hat trick or 4 goals against us.
Yeah. Now I have a I keep saying online that people are saying that this Premier League season it's a bad Premier League season, or the teams aren't as good as they usually are and stuff. Do you think it's that, or do you think it's from 20 to 6, those teams have just gotten so much better over the years that those matches where you'd walk into it and be like, oh, we got Portsmouth at the weekend, guaranteed 3-0. You know what I mean? Like, there's not really any teams in the league right now that I think any side, whether it's Arsenal, Liverpool, City, us, go into assuming you're going to batter them 3-0 and then actually batter them 3-0. You know, even Burnley, like Burnley of the last few years who have been getting promoted and getting relegated, they've been much better this year. Uh, Wolves, who are probably going to get relegated, I don't think they're as bad as they were towards the start of the season. So like, I think the quality overall, the Premier League is so good now. That's why people are saying that the league isn't as good because
Yeah,
there's no real like front runners in the sense of like the league isn't won by January or February. Like it's always kind of coming down to the tail end of it, which is I think that's what you want, right? Like you want it to be exciting, you want it to be entertaining.
100%. That's one. I've even seen a few other people talking about this as well, where we're actually mentioning that Prime Barclays is back, and that's exactly what I'm seeing. It's like anyone can beat anyone out there. Like it
Mm.
doesn't matter. Like Liverpool are dropping points to Burnley, Liverpool are dropping points to Wolves, City are dropping points to teams as well. Anyone can beat anyone in this league,
Yep.
and that's what as we've witnessed before, like coming up against Bournemouth, Brentford, Fulham. Like Fulham, I always say this as well. Fulham are a dodgy side against United. Like even that cup when we won the cup that year, coming up against them, like 3 players sent off, I think, in the match. It's
Yep.
like we were losing 1-0 most of the match, and then only for it to come back to 2-1 there because they were missing 3 players. They're not a pushover side.
No. That's like
Um,
Fulham with whenever we play Fulham. Now, Adama Traore is one of the fastest players in the world. He's horrible at football, but whenever he comes on, I'm like, oh, he's gonna score a worldie here now. He never does, but I'm always just shitting it whenever I see him come on.
Yeah, because we've seen him do it before. Like it's not completely out of pocket if he were to do it. Like it's something that he can do, and it's in his arsenal as well. Like he's well capable of doing it,
Yeah,
but it's when. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's the issue. Is like because they've got decent players as well who can do a bit, like Raul Jimenez, Andres Pereira, stuff like that. I'm pretty sure they're still at the team. But coming up against those players or those lads, like they are gonna do bits. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like they're not gonna lie down and just let walk all over them. But it's down to the coaching staff. It's down to each player as well to kind of go out on the day and focus on what they're doing to then counter it. Because if we go out and we just play our usual football, they're going to be prepared for it.
yeah.
And that's one issue that I feel as well with the United team is that every time we come up against a big team like Arsenal, City, or Liverpool, like we put it to them. Like beating Liverpool this season, we beat City this season, but we've struggled against some of the lower teams because we tend to just drop to their level.
Do you think that they're necessarily dropping to their level, or like those teams are playing up because it's United? I think that's also a side of it too. You know, like when a team comes to Old Trafford, like I know with me, whenever I play sports, depending on who you were playing, you're playing up, you're playing down, no matter where you are or what you're playing. But when these sides come to Old Trafford, they see the fans, they see the crowd, they see the media, they know it's going to be. It's almost like a trial for them in the sense where it's like everyone's going to be watching it. This is their moment. I think what we need to do is, like we were saying, when we go against Arsenal, we need to put the foot down, get some early challenges in, let them know that we're there. Let them know that we're here and we're not fucking around. I think it's just as important to do that against Arsenal as it is important to do it against Fulham. And I think if you do it against the Fulhams and you do it against the Burnleys and the Wolves, it's actually going to make more of an impact because then they'll be like, "Oh shit, this is a real United squad. Like they want this. Like we're fucked."
Yeah,
Right? Because
no,
I, I
hundred
feel
percent.
I feel like when we play those lower sides, it's very much relaxed, laid back. just wait for Bruno to create something or something to happen. But we need to just start banging into challenges, pick up an early yellow if you have to. But if it's Dallo and he gets an early yellow, you will know that I'll be quite upset and I'll be somebody be getting hooked after 15 minutes.
100%. I'd be the same. Because it's like, no, I genuinely do agree with you as well about teams playing up because it is United, and it's kind of like a gladiator moment as well. Do you know what I mean? Like you're performing against all these, like in front of all these fans who want you to fail, which is probably just going to encourage them even more to show up and play against United. Do you know what I mean? But as we were saying there as well, it's up to United now to kind of take the reins and control the match and not let them dictate anything.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was it was a great episode, James. It was our
100%.
debut together. Happy to do it with you. As always, guys, please subscribe to the Cult of Cantona, and you can also go to buymeacoffee.com/Cult of Cantona. There's also a QR code over here underneath James. Please go there. Shows a lot of support for us. Instead of a coffee for me, it'll be a herbal tea because I'm not feeling well. But anyway, as always, believe we are united. Glory, glory.
Hashtag Glazers out.
Hashtag lasers out.
Absolute pleasure, Oisin. Talk to you
Yeah.
soon, brother.
Cheers, bud.